The cameras flashed.
Mm.
The crowd froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession. But before the flashing lights, before the magazine covers, and, before the world knew her name, there was a moment of absolute silence.
Okay.
Picture this. Fade in.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2011. We are looking at a 15-year-old girl named Chloe. She's sitting at her computer, probably procrastinating on homework, doing the usual teenage scroll.
Uh-huh.
And then a notification pops up on Facebook.
The universal sound of doom in the early 2010s.
Right. But this isn't a friend request. It's a direct message from a woman she barely knows. A total stranger, really a friend of a friend. And the message is just 4 words. Is your mom around?
Oof. That is that instant stomach drop feeling. It's like a biological alarm bell.
It is.
Your brain knows something is wrong before you can even articulate why. Because casual acquaintances do not message teenagers asking for their parents unless the news is, catastrophic.
Exactly. And her intuition was right. That message led to a phone call that completely shattered Chloe's world. Her father, Philip Hosterman, had taken his own life.
Wow.
But the tragedy wasn't just the loss. It was what he left behind. He left a grieving family, sure, but he also left behind a closet full of secrets and a life hidden in the shadows.
And in the aftermath of that trauma, Chloe did something fascinating and honestly heartbreaking.
Yeah.
She disappeared, or rather, she reinvented herself. She legally changed her name to Dove, a nickname her father used to call her, and she just threw herself into a new world.
She became the perfect Disney princess to hide the tragedy. But as we see in the sources we're covering today, you can only shapeshift for so long before the cracks start to show. Welcome to StarScope Report.
Join Jordan and Jamie as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
Today is going to be heavy, but it's also incredibly hopeful. We're digging through a massive stack of sources. We've got the transcripts from her incredibly raw interview on Call Her Daddy.
Which was just, wow, so revealing.
So revealing. We've got investigative pieces from Pink News and Gay Times about her sexuality, and some very heated Reddit threads debating her relationships.
And our mission today isn't just to talk about a celebrity wedding. We are looking at the recent engagement of Dove Cameron and Damiano David in January 2026. But we're framing it differently.
Right.
We're reading this engagement as the final act in a 15-year survival story.
Exactly. We're looking at how a girl who learned at a fundamental level that love was dangerous finally learned to feel safe. So let's dive in.
Let's do it.
And to understand Dove Cameron, the global star who just got engaged to a rock star in 2026, you have to understand Chloe, the girl who lost her dad in 2011. Because the sources paint a really complex, difficult picture of him.
Complex is putting it mildly. In the Call Her Daddy transcript, Dove describes him as this magical figure. He was charismatic, creative, a pianist. He sounds like the life of the party. But he was also battling severe bipolar disorder that was largely hidden, or at least not understood by the kids, until it was too late.
And for those listening who might not know the clinical side, when we talk about unmanaged bipolar disorder in a parent, we aren't just talking about mood swings. We're talking about an environment where the emotional weather can change instantly.
Instantly, and with no warning.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It creates a state of hypervigilance in the child. Dove tells these stories that just give you chills. There was this one incident she calls the toothpaste incident.
Yeah, this one stuck with me.
So her dad comes home from work. He's stressed out. He finds her bubblegum-flavored toothpaste on the counter, and he makes this joke about taking it away. But the way she describes it, it wasn't funny. It was aggressive. It was this subtle shift in energy from dad to threat that a child doesn't know how to navigate.
And that's the key, right? It's the unpredictability.
Yeah.
There's another story that honestly broke my heart reading it.
Hmm.
She talks about how her parents were separated but still living in the same house for a bit. Her dad invites her to come sleep in his bed, just to be close. Like a dad and daughter watching a movie. She falls asleep, feeling safe.
And then...
Abruptly, he wakes her up in the middle of the night. He physically throws her out of the room.
What?
Yeah. He's screaming, accusing her of being ungrateful, saying she's trying to get away from him.
That is terrifying.
It was a delusion, a manic swing. But for a kid, you don't think, oh, dad is having a manic episode. You think, I did something wrong.
Of course.
The lesson you learn there is that intimacy is a trap. Safety can be revoked in a second.
That is precisely the psychological imprint she carried into adulthood. She explicitly said that for years she equated love with fear. She couldn't trust affection because her primary model for it, her father, could flip the script instantly.
It's classic trauma conditioning.
Yeah, the brain learns that closeness equals danger.
And unfortunately, it gets darker.
Mm-hmm.
We have to mention the incident when she was 8. It involves her best friend, Haley.
This is heavy, but it's crucial to understanding her worldview.
It really is.
According to the sources, Dove's best friend's father, a man Dove knew, a man she had stayed with, killed his own daughter, Haley. Dove was 8 years old.
8. Can you imagine realizing at 8 years old that people, fathers who are supposed to be the ultimate protectors, are capable of, as she puts it, harrowing things?
She said it fissured her reality. She claims her frontal lobe essentially developed at 8 years old because she had to process this immense darkness.
So fast forward to when she's 15. Her own father commits suicide. She now has this ingrained, bone-deep belief that the world is chaos and people, especially men, are dangerous.
So what does she do?
She runs to the arguably safest, most controlled place on Earth. She moves to L.A. and auditions for Disney.
But here is the irony. She gets to Disney, the land of smiles and bright colors, and the executives take one look at her and say, "Stop."
Stop what?
Stop being yourself. The sources reveal that Disney executives actually told her agents that she was too dark and off-putting. Yes, they said she wasn't relatable. They literally asked her to change her personality to fit the brand.
That is wild to think about. You have this girl carrying immense grief, immense trauma, and the industry tells her, hide that, be bubbly, be shiny.
And she did. She treated it like a job. She became Dove, the character, but the cost was enormous. She talks about developing an obsession with shape-shifting.
Right.
She admitted to struggling with eating disorders and trying to make herself physically perfect.
But she said something really insightful about that in the interview. She said it wasn't vanity.
No.
She wasn't trying to look pretty for Instagram likes. She believed that if she was physically perfect, no one would harm her.
That is such a profound distinction. It's a safety mechanism known as fawning in psychology, trying to appease the threat by being exactly what they want you to be.
Right, like if I am small, if I am perfect, if I'm exactly what you want me to be, maybe the chaos won't find me.
Maybe the bad things won't happen. It's armor disguised as a Disney princess costume.
And looking back, she calls it infantilization. She was freezing herself at age 18 because adulthood meant chaos. Adulthood meant becoming her father. So she stayed the girl.
Which works for a while until you start dating. And that is where the cracks in the armor really started to show.
Yeah.
Because you can't shapeshift your way through a real relationship forever.
But hiding behind a mask only works for so long. Wait until you hear how the internet forced her out of the closet before she was ready.
Oh, this part.
Coming up. A simple emoji triggers a massive scandal, and Dove makes a radical decision that leads to a 2-year vow of silence.
It's the moment the script flipped.
If you love uncovering the psychological twists behind the headlines, hit that subscribe button. We've got more stories on how stars survived the spotlight coming up.
Okay, so let's move to the internet age. Because while Dove was hiding behind this perfect image, the internet was getting hungry.
So hungry.
And one innocent emoji was about to blow her cover completely.
This is where we move from the internal trauma to the external pressure. Dove is navigating Hollywood. She has these high-profile relationships. First, there was Ryan McCartan, her co-star from Liv and Maddie.
The perfect couple era, they were engaged, they had a band together, but reading the People magazine archives on this, it's so clear this was part of the performance.
It really was.
Dove later admitted the relationship had very low lows. She never made public. She felt pressured to make everything look perfect because that was her brand.
Then came Thomas Doherty, the Descendants co-star. This one seemed different.
It did.
She called him her soulmate. She said the earth moved when they met.
But look at the timing. This relationship ended in late 2020. The pandemic hit, the distractions of work vanished, and suddenly Dove is left alone with her thoughts, her grief, and a relationship that, despite the love, was buckling under the weight of her unresolved trauma.
She described that breakup as leaving her fed up and broken. But before she could even fully process that heartbreak, she walked right into a PR nightmare.
The queerbaiting scandal.
Yeah. This makes me so angry on her behalf, honestly. So, for context, she releases a lyric video for a song called We Belong. She wants to be inclusive, so she asks for drawings of all kinds of couples. Straight, gay, everything.
Cool. A nice thing to do.
A nice thing to do. And to promote it, she tweets out the song with some emojis, including the women kissing emoji.
And the internet pounced. For our listeners who might not be terminally online, queerbaiting is an accusation usually leveled at, TV shows or celebrities who hint at being LGBTQ+ to get the attention and money of that community.
The pink dollar.
The pink dollar, exactly, without actually facing the stigma of coming out. It's seen as exploitative.
And the sources from Pink News and the Reddit threads from that time are brutal. People were tearing her apart, saying she was appropriating queer culture for a pop song.
And this forced her hand. She went on Instagram Live, visibly terrified, and had to say, guys, I'm not queerbaiting. I am queer.
She said she hated having to do it. She felt stripped of her agency. Here she is, trying to figure out her identity in private, and the internet bullies her into a public confession before she's ready.
And here is the silver lining. That violation forced her to stop hiding. It broke the Disney mask.
It really did.
She couldn't be the perfect heteronormative princess anymore because the truth was out.
And this leads to what I think is the most badass move of her career. The sabbatical.
Yes, the celibacy era.
After the Thomas Doherty breakup and the coming out drama, she didn't jump into another relationship. She didn't find a rebound. She disappeared.
She moved into her own house, lived alone for the first time in their life, and she stopped dating.
Completely.
Completely.
She told Call Her Daddy that she needed to rewire her neural pathways.
That is a very specific and accurate way to put it. She realized she had been using men in relationships to regulate her emotions since she was 15.
Is forever.
Think about it. If she was loved, she was safe. If she was alone, she was in danger. By choosing to be alone, she was proving to her nervous system that she could survive solitude.
She faced the attic of her mind. All those suppressed memories of her dad, the grief, the fear, she just sat with it.
And that is the difference between running from darkness and integrating it. She stopped trying to be the light, bubbly girl and allowed herself to be a whole person, darkness included.
Which, ironically, is exactly what prepared her for what happened next.
Right.
She swore off dating. She was done. But then a rock star slides into her life? Or did she slide into his? The truth about how they met is not what you think.
And that's not even the wildest part.
We'll get to the rumors and the rock star in just a second. But first, if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead on StarScope Report.
So, enter the rock star, Damiano David.
Or rather, did she enter the rock star's chat?
Well, that's the rumor. And we need to clear this up because the internet has got this wrong.
Totally wrong.
Yes.
The rumors, fueled by Reddit sleuths and TikTok theorists, were that Dove Cameron slid into Damiano David's DMs. He's the lead singer of Måneskin, the Italian rock band. Very glam rock, very eyeliner, very cool.
And Dove is on record saying, absolutely not. She says she never slides into DMs because, quote, she is not good over text.
Which is relatable. The truth is actually sweeter. They met at the VMAs, he approached her, and because she had done this 2 years of work on herself, she didn't jump in out of desperation.
She jumped in because she was ready.
Exactly.
But the internet wasn't convinced. We looked at these Reddit threads, and there is a lot of skepticism. People calling it a PR relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Saying it's too convenient that the Disney girl gets with the edgy rocker just as he's launching a solo career in the U.S.
It's a classic cynical take. The smile was a contract.
Right.
People are so used to celebrities faking it.
Yeah.
One Reddit user pointed out that they seem to have commercial partnership vibes because they're both under Sony Music.
But if you listen to how she talks about him, it doesn't sound like a contract. It sounds like safety.
She says he loves the dark parts of her, the parts Disney told her to hide, the parts her dad couldn't handle. Damiano just accepts them.
And that brings us to the engagement. January 2026, they announce it to the world. And the details of the proposal are the ultimate anti-Disney ending.
It wasn't in front of a castle. There were no fireworks.
They were at home. Dove says she was wearing a big T-shirt. She was unshowered, no makeup, completely barefaced.
Think about the symbolism of that. The girl who spent her life shape-shifting, trying to be physically perfect so she wouldn't be harmed, gets the ultimate promise of love while wearing a dirty T-shirt.
Damiano told her he wanted to propose doing something normal because that is their life together.
It's profound. It signals that she no longer believes she has to earn love through performance. She can just
be. And now, here we are. Dove Cameron turned 30 in January 2026.
And she says she feels great.
Which is funny because most people freak out about turning 30. But she says she's always felt older than she was.
She was waiting for her chronological age to catch up to her trauma age. She's been operating with an adult's burden since she was 8 years old. Now, finally, her exterior life matches her interior maturity.
She also said something really beautiful about her dad in the Call Her Daddy interview. She says as she gets older, She meets the parts of him she never got to know by seeing them in herself.
That is acceptance. She isn't running from his legacy anymore. She sees the magical parts of him in her own creativity, and she sees the darkness, but she has the tools to manage it now.
She isn't destined to repeat his ending.
No.
It really is a survival story. From the little girl receiving that terrifying StarScope message, to the teenager hiding behind a blonde wig, to the woman standing in her kitchen unshowered, saying yes to a future she chose for herself.
It forces you to rethink what a Disney success story looks like.
Yeah.
Usually we think success is the fame, the money, the hit records. But for Dove Cameron, success was surviving her own mind.
So, here is a question for you to take with you today. Dove Cameron spent years running from the darkness of her father's secret, hiding behind that Disney smile. But in the end, did she find happiness by finally escaping the darkness? Or did she find it by inviting someone to sit in the darkness with her?
That's the question. And maybe that's the answer.
And if you're curious about other child stars who shattered their molds, you know where to find us.
You've been listening to StarScope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.